Well, how convenient, folks. We wanted to talk a little bit about this exact thing right here. Has this been the cause of what's happened in Washington State? Historic flooding. We don't know here, can't verify it. No way to know if this is what took place prior to all of that flooding. Now, I do realize, after talking to a few people that lived out there, that the flooding they do have flooding, but it's not like this. It is something that they've had problems with in the past, and some of the cities have built retaining walls to hold the water back because they flood. A lot of it's farmland, a lot of it's downtown that floods, so they built like a seawall. But if you notice, these aren't clouds. These are all result of spraying. These are not cirrus clouds, they're not stratus clouds, they're not cumulus clouds. These are aerosol injected clouds that you see. They just disperse. After this takes place, there's no such thing as a trail of that. That's not contrails. It's not water vapor. This is chemical trails, and it disperses just like you see there. They've been spraying all night. This is the result after sunrise. And this evening's video is about Washington State. Well, folks, what you're looking at is precipitation charts, what they've had in the last 24 hours. The flood warning areas here, what they've got in effect, what's coming. There's more to come on Sunday. They've seen monstrous amounts of water. You've seen the rescue page just come across. Here's the road closures. And then, folks, after all this precipitation comes through, there's going to be a cold Arctic blast. Look at the farmland that's flooded here. The cattle having trouble just grazing. This is a mess. It's deja vu, just like they had in Western North Carolina. Can we prove? It would be interesting to find out if they did any stratospheric aerosol injection spraying, or was HAARP involved in heating up the ionosphere. That is a thing, folks. You can research it. HAARP. Now, this thing here you're seeing is what they're calling the atmospheric river, and this stretched 3,500 miles from offshore of Washington State. It came all the way from the Aleutian Islands in Alaska and has extended all the way into Indiana. Now, ain't that something? Have you ever heard of atmospheric spraying? There's been several water rescues that have taken place. There's been mudslides, and of course, houses washed away. And do you think, folks, that these people in Washington State are going to get anything any different than the folks in Western North Carolina? They're going to be hung out to dry when it comes to insurance payouts. I don't know if Foxtrot Echo Mike Alpha will treat them any different, but they're still waiting in North Carolina just to be treated in some way, shape, or form by Foxtrot Echo Mike Alpha in some capacity, that they can get at least that $750 a piece that Word Salad Harris promised. and approximate applicable payouts from Foxtrot Echo Mike Alpha, because no one ever had the opportunity to fill out applications because there was no communication, no transportation, and no power in western North Carolina, and many are still without transportation or power and running water or communications. So do you think these folks can expect anything any different, especially since their representatives in local and county are all for defunding the police? They're all for the people that are not from here. They're all for giving stuff away to people that's never paid a dime in taxes. They've never contributed to society in the United States, nor have they ever done the proper procedures for coming into the country. They were let in on purpose to create chaos. Well, folks, it's mighty cold this morning here at Deep River Farm, but the cold blast hadn't got here yet, but it's cold, mighty cold. Temperatures in the low 20s, mid 20s, depending on where you're at. Temperature in the towns and cities is a little warmer than it is out here in the country part, because of the asphalt, concrete, and the brick hold that heat. And out in the country, there ain't nothing to hold it. And we had pretty much clear blue skies until they started the spraying, folks. Look at there. That's a fresh one that just come across. Look at there. Ain't that something? They just won't stop. They won't leave it alone. So people's going to ask, what is atmospheric river? And the best way I can tell you from what I've read about it, because I'd never heard of it, is it's a temperature inversion. And the temperature at the elevations in the sky, the heights above sea level, the temperature on up into the atmosphere is warmer than it is on the surface. And there's some like a temperature inversion that takes place, and it's caused from heat, and the somehow or another it creates this phenomenon called atmospheric river. I've got to do a little bit more research on it. I want to do a little more research on the HAARP and just find out how this device that they've developed. There are people that I know that know people that was involved in the manufacturing and design of this contraption that the military has, that's based in Alaska, that is just specifically designed to manipulate and create weather disasters. So try to do a little research on that. I'm sure it's widely known if you just knew the terms and what to look for and definitions or words or names of it. Just not real sure. But it's going to be real interesting to find out if the problem they've got in Washington State is created. Now, according to Dane Wigginton, he says that Helene was created and steered into western North Carolina. We know from admission that the company Rainmakers was responsible for spreading chemtrails in Kerr, Texas, when that devastating flood came through and killed all those children. And they say in this one, this Helene storm was created and steered into place and stopped in its tracks to dump all this rain and create this problem. And now we're wondering, is this the case in Washington State? We also know that last year when they had all of that flooding in Southern California, that it was also created by the spraying, which caused all of the mudslides and all of that rain they got out there and that type stuff. So we know that it's happening, but people still deny that, oh, this is not a thing. Well, all you need to do, folks, is start researching and begin with Operation Popeye. This was the name of it. Back when they were in Vietnam, the United States government manipulated the weather over Vietnam to create monsoons so that they could flood the tunnels with water to try to get the enemy out of those underground tunnel systems. So, folks, we just wanted to leave it at that. Talk a little bit about what's going on in Washington State. Throw out the possibilities there. Is this stuff being created there as well? The more that we listen to some of these experts like Dane Wigginton, I think that's how you pronounce his name, the more it looks like he is right on target. He was just on Tucker Carlson the other night. You may want to research some of Tucker's videos, and it was really good. So maybe something you folks want to do. That's above my pay grade. The knowledge on this subject here, I know it's happening. I see it's happening, and it ain't something that you can't have a blind eye to, because if you talk to people just this year, there was no bugs. You know, normally when you drive and you drive at night, your windshield's just covered with bugs. Well, that's not the case. I heard yesterday on an interview that 70% of the bee population has diminished. Where are the birds? You know, it's a very viable question. It's serious. What's going to happen if our pollinators are gone? Well, you know, if they destroy our pollinators and we have no pollinators to do the food, our food system goes to pot. But, you know, they've got a plan in place, folks. They want that, they want you eating bugs and 3D printed meat. And in the state of North Carolina, they have the world's largest 3D printed meat factory in Wilson. The name of the place, unless they've changed it again, is called Believer Meats. You can look that up. It's in Wilson, North Carolina. And it's owned by an Israeli company, from what I understand. Unless it's changed hands. They had it under another name, and that name just didn't market very well for some reason, so they changed it. It could have been because of local uproar or something. I'm not sure. But folks, the plan is, you've got 4 major meat packing companies in the United States that does 85% of your meat. They gas it. 2 of those meat packers of the 4 are foreign owned. Imagine that. So what are you getting as far as quality, and what are they being fed that's coming through your local grocery store? Folks, we've been saying it for 2 or 3 years now. Grow your own food, find you a local farmer, and quit eating this garbage in the store. We know that the junk's in it. We know that the Food and Drug Administration is not being ran properly. The companies themselves have figured out ways to inject chemicals in your food because it's cheaper than the real stuff. It's all about profit. It's all about making you sick so that the food creates the drugs. Think about that, folks. The food is to create the drugs. Is that why the Food and Drug Agency, FDA, is under one umbrella? It's easier to buy off one agency than it is to go and have to work through several. Now, we know all this stuff's in the foods. Why is nobody held accountable? That can be asked about everything. It's a two-party, two-justice tier system. You've got people creating all of this stuff to create cancer. The American Cancer Society, folks, has probably been in existence for 100 years. I don't know. I ain't researched that. Let's say 75 years. They ain't cured a thing, but they've took in billions and billions of dollars. They ain't going to let you know anything about getting a cure for cancer. It's too big of a money racket. That's all it is. It's all about the money. If you're not sick, they can't profit. And they can't fundraise, and these NGOs can't get all the tax money from the taxpayers. And everybody is dependent on the grocery stores. Used to, everybody grew their food. They don't even teach in school how to grow the food. They don't want you to know how to grow your own food. They want you dependent. That way, when this digital ID thing rolls out, they will determine who gets to eat and how much and what you eat. That's going to determine how much you travel, where you go, and if you can buy gas. It's got absolutely nothing to do with anything, other than control. Control and profit. That's all it is. And don't think they have you in their best interest, especially when you have people like old Mr. Microsoft talking about depopulation and population control. So there you go. Grow your own food. Don't rely on the grocery stores. Everything in there is fake food. We did a video about that. Everything's bioengineered. I talked to some farmers this week. They were talking about the glyphosate. Folks, we're going to do a thing. It just popped in my mind. I'm going to do a thing on your pets. And let me just throw this out there on your pets. Your pets are the experiment for the human race. And what do I mean by that? The life expectancy of your pets, folks, has been cut in half. Research it. Look back. From the 70s and 80s, your pets used to live 15 to 20 years. Even golden retrievers was living 20 years. Pretty good, 17 to 20 years. Now, less than 10. And it's all because of their food. It's all because of their food. The pets, folks, are the experiment of what they're going to do to the humans. You can take that to the bank. We're going to do a video about that. So, folks, I appreciate you joining me here today on Deep River Farm. I've put a lot of stuff out there, said a lot of things that was on my mind, and I think I'm right on target. Leave a comment. Let me know if I'm on target, folks. And these comments and likes on this video, push the algorithms out to where people can see it, because I've been saying it for a long time. They suppressing and shadow banning and unsubscribing and unnotifying people. They don't want them to know the truth. I got a thing from Holly just this morning where a fellow by the name of Nick Johnson said that they were jamming his channel. He had been trying to upload video all day with no success. I feel his pain. I've told y'all the same thing. They jamming it. They're decreasing the bandwidth coming to the channel where you can't upload to your channel because you've said some stuff they don't like. Well, too bad. If the truth hurts, too bad. If the boot fits, you got to wear it. Ain't that the saying? It is out here in the country. If the boot fits, you got to wear it. You make your own bed, you got to lay in it. So there you go. Well, folks, I appreciate you joining me here today on Deep River Farm. I hope everybody has a blessed day. Pray for those folks in Washington State. They're getting ready to find out what Western North Carolina is going through. It's going to be your churches and your non-profits, folks. If you're on the West Coast and you're watching, don't look for the government to help you. Even though we got a new one in administration in, don't bank on it. There's so much corruption and the money's been diverted for so long, there ain't none there to get. And the agency itself is crooked. They don't care about nothing but illegals. They proved that. Your government out there in the state of Washington and your local governments and your county governments, you know, them friendly protests they had where they was burning everything down out there and got a free pass. They care more about that agenda than they do you folks. So just don't depend on nothing that they say. Don't believe nothing you hear and only half of what you see. I'd give that a good piece of advice from what we dealt with in Western North Carolina. So, folks, I appreciate you joining me here today. I hope everybody has a blessed day, and we'll see you on the next video. This is it in a nutshell, folks. Big Pharma is going to ensure that you stay sick. The banks are going to ensure that you stay in debt. The media is going to ensure that you never know the truth. And the government is going to ensure that the laws are going to benefit the agenda.